Hello and welcome to my very first podcast. My name is Emma. I'm a nutritional coach and a personal trainer, and I specialize in training women 40 plus who are going through perimenopause and menopause. So just a little bit about what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be trying to do a weekly podcast, keeping it short, sweet, informative, and hopefully sometimes funny. Today's going to be an informative one, and it's all about nutrition and optimizing it for you as a woman of 40 plus. So there's a load of stuff on the internet, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere you look. There's something about what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating. And I've been coaching for a few years now, and I've found that over the years, I've become a lot more focused on what you can do rather than what you can't do, what you can eat rather than what you can't eat. So sometimes I say to my clients, it's not about what you take away, it's about what you add in. So what you add into your diet is really important. And it's really hard for us to take those things that we love away. So initially, I would always say focus on what you can add back in. And when I mean what you can add in, I'm talking about things like, protein. We hear so much about protein. As an older woman, you've got to eat protein. Well, it's true. You do have to eat protein. It's really important for several reasons. The first being that as we age, we hit our 30s, we start to lose muscle mass. And protein is one way that we can maintain that muscle mass by eating a protein-rich diet. Also strength training, of course, which that will be another podcast for another day. But not only that, it also helps keep us satiated. So when you get these sort of hunger cravings, and you get these sort of crashes through the day, eating protein at every meal is a really good and effective way of keeping you more satiated and stop those really intense hunger cravings that we often get. So protein is super important, and it's not as difficult as it seems. A lot of people overcomplicate things. Just write a list of your favorite proteins. So for me, I'm plant-based. That's things like tofu, tempeh, seitan, and I also do add a bit of protein powder to my day. So an example would be for my morning breakfast, I have oats, but I add protein powder to my oats. Now, a lot of people are going to jump on me and say, oh my gosh, oats, carbs for breakfast, really? Spiking your cortisol, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm adding protein and actually healthy fats to my morning oats in the form of chia seeds, flax seeds, protein powders, and I get around 40 grams of protein at breakfast. It's my biggest meal of the day. It's kind of over 500 calories just for that one meal. But it really sets me up for the day, and it really stops me getting those mid-morning hunger cravings. So the protein powders I use are really clean protein powders. They're pure soy isolate, pure pea protein, and I also use a little bit of rice protein, but they're all pure one ingredient protein powders. So none of these ready-made protein powders that have fillers and sucralose and sweeteners. I like to keep it really clean. I sweeten my oats with fresh berries, usually frozen, sometimes fresh, depending. So that's one really easy way that you can start your day in a high protein state. And I would always suggest, by the way, of having starting your day with a high protein meal. A lot of people, speak about intermittent fasting, etc., which we will cover on another podcast. But for me, I think it's really important to start the day fueling yourself right. And then going on to lunch and dinner, I will choose one of my favorite protein sources, tofu or tempeh, or seitan, and I will have a portion that equates to at least 30 grams of protein for my lunch and for my dinner. And then I'll have a couple of protein snacks, which could be like a soy-based Greek yogurt with nuts and seeds and a few berries, which takes me to like over 20 grams of protein for a snack, which is really great. So before you know it, I've had way over 150 grams of protein every single day. It's really easy. I mix and match my foods, but I have protein at every meal 3 times a day, plus a couple of snacks. So the other really important food that you need to be adding in alongside protein are green veggies. So this is your fiber sources. So not only are green veggies a great source of fiber, they're also a great source of minerals and vitamins and antioxidants, etc., etc. But green veggies, you can like literally eat unlimited amount of them. There's no limit on how many green veggies you can eat. All the coloured fruit and veggies, also really great, but in a more limited way. So you don't want to be eating, like mangoes and pineapples and, an abundance of really high sugar fruits all throughout the day, every day. You can eat those things for sure, but you want to limit them a little bit more. But the green veggies, you can eat unlimited amounts because they're going to fill you up. Your gut is going to love you for eating them because fiber is what feeds our gut microbiome. So it's like a prebiotic. And it's also going to keep us regular. It's going to keep us full and satiated. And we're going to take all the great vitamins and minerals from it, but we're going to poop a lot of it out. So it's a really great way to manage your weight, manage your gut microbiome, and keep you fit and healthy. Super, super important. So fiber in particular in the form of green veggies. So those are the two food groups that I would say are really, really key, especially as we get older. But also things like healthy fats, very important for hormone regulation. So by healthy fats, we're talking about things like, nuts and seeds, avocados. If you eat fish, oily fish, in particular things like salmon and mackerel. Very, very important to include into your diet. Also, cold pressed olive oil is also very good. But these things need to be limited because they're super high in calories. So fats are higher in calories than carbs and protein. So whilst they're very good for you, you want to limit them a little bit more. So, a sprinkle of nuts and seeds on your yogurt or your breakfast, half an avocado for lunch, with your lunch, etc., etc. But very important for good hormone health, amongst other things. And then the last sort of food group I'd say is really, really important, carbohydrates. Now, when I talk about carbohydrates, I'm talking about complex carbs. I'm not talking about white breads, pastas, white rice, etc., etc. I'm talking about whole grains, beans, quinoa, vegetables come under that umbrella of complex carbs. All those really good whole grain things, very, very good for you, for your gut, and also to keep you satiated, and also good source of energy because carbohydrates are a main source of energy, but complex carbs are like a slow drip energy. So it doesn't release into our bloodstream really, really fast, doesn't spike our blood sugars. So very, very important, but complex carbs is the way to go. So, your lentils, your beans, etc., etc. And then, of course, hydration. Must keep hydrated. We often mistake being hungry when we're actually thirsty. So make sure you're drinking primarily water. Is obviously the best thing to drink, but that includes things like herbal teas, flavored waters. So maybe water with a slice of lemon in, or some fruit or cucumber or something. Yes, tea and coffee is liquid, but it contains caffeine. You want to limit your caffeine intake, especially later on in the day, because we don't want anything to affect our sleep. So hydration is really, really important. It's probably a good idea to half an hour before you're going to eat to drink a big glass of water and then see how hungry you really are, because you're probably a little bit dehydrated rather than really, really hungry. So if you're currently eating what you would say is a poor diet, it's really hard to just switch it up to a super healthy diet. And the chances are you'll do it for a little while. You might do it for a few days, a week, maybe a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months. But you're probably going to fall off the wagon because you're just going to miss all that sort of stuff that you were eating before. So what I would suggest that you do is really try and reintroduce some good healthy habits. So every meal, try and get something green in your plate and try and make half your plate green. And then try and add in your portion of protein. Even if you're, having it in the form of, I don't know, like burger and chips, you can swap that for a healthy, lean burger in a wholemeal bun, or even better without the bun, with hand cut air fried potatoes with skin on, even better sweet potatoes, and a huge big salad. So it's just about swapping things back in rather than taking things away. And then you can slowly manipulate your food to become healthier and less, carb heavy, less saturated fat heavy, less ultra processed food heavy. So can't do this podcast on nutrition without mentioning ultra processed foods. Look, it's everywhere over the news, it's on your TV programs, it's on your Instagram feeds, ultra processed foods, everything in moderation. We're not saying you can't eat them, but really in moderation, because they are very nutrient lacking. They're high in sugars, they're high in salts, they're high in fats and not healthy fats. The more processed food you eat, the less benefits your body's going to get. You're going to find it harder to maintain or lose weight. And your health is really not going to thank you for it. Your gut microbiome is so important when it comes to everything to do with your health, your agility, your brain power, the way you feel, your mood, your anxiety, your stress. It is so important. It is the most important thing that you can do is nurture your gut, to nurture your body. And if you're training, if you're not training, why not? But if you are training, you really do need to fuel your body correctly, to make sure you're training optimally, and training to the best of your ability. So in summary, you want to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Eat simple foods in the week. Have a little splurge at the weekend. But protein at every meal. Something green, veggie. If you must have a sweet breakfast, then, keep it to a low glycemic fruits like berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries are really good. Complex carbs, if you want to eat carbs other than veggies, then keep it to whole grains, lentils, quinoa, etc., etc. And keep hydrated throughout the day and focus on healthy fats like nuts, seeds, avocados, etc. Obviously, it goes a lot deeper and a lot more complicated than that, but this is a really basic starter to eating healthy. And I think that's what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be achievable, realistic, not to blow your mind too much with all the science. We want to make actionable things that you can do right now. And you don't have to do all of that right now. Do one thing today, drink an extra couple of glasses of water, add protein to every meal, write a list of your favorite proteins, go shopping, buy your protein, prep it for the week, and it's done. So it's about introducing small things incrementally over the next few days, few weeks, and then in a month's time, in 2 months' time, you'll be in a far better place than you are today. So any questions, drop me a comment below. If this is posted in a group, you can drop it in the group. You can DM me, but ask questions, because I have a mountain of knowledge that I can share with you, that would just take hours on a podcast. But this is just a real simple starter to get you started. I hope you enjoyed this. It was short and sweet, which is what I want to keep these podcasts to be, because I know people are really time poor. So I hope you enjoyed it. And next week, we will probably have a guest speaker. So, yeah, look out for the links and join me then, and have a fabulous day.